Gitmo Bob told me that I was wrong. He told me that when I gave our linebacker room a B plus or a B or something like that, he said, Mosley is trash. You're wrong. And as usual, he's never admitted when he's wrong. He just arrogantly puts out things out there. He criticizes me at everything I say. And every time he's proven wrong and I'm proven right, he's never admitted it. Michael LaFraud, oh yeah? You like Hackett better? Does he admit he's wrong? He never does. But you know who might prove me wrong? My partner, Nick Shine. And we'll be back right after this to see how he's going to do it.
And now, welcome to Pride and Chaos.
Welcome to the darkest year of our adventures. Oh, yeah!
And now, give it up for Jeremy and Rick.
Now you scared me.
And as usual, Nick is wrong.
Why are you the way that you are? God, I can't stand you.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Whoa, that was cool.
And here we are, live, talking to the world. A surprise show with very little warning, and I have the nerve to complain that there's not enough people watching. What do you have to say to that, Nick?
People are getting a lot of you lately. Maybe it's a little chaos overkill. You're everywhere, man. Good for you, bro. I'm happy for you.
There might be too much chaos overkill everywhere else, and just not enough here. The algorithms, could be very cool, my friends.
There's enough chaos to spread around.
Yes.
And I'm sharing it out now. Give me a sec.
People have to look at my ugly face. By the way, if you're wondering about this awesome shirt I'm wearing, Feed Breeze, I got this shirt at the Talkin' Jets merch store. So if you go to the description of Talkin' Jets, you will see they've added a lot of cool shirts to their offerings. And I picked this Feed Brees shirt because, as everybody knows, I'm a huge Brees Hall fan. And I think the key to victory, the path to the playoffs for the New York Jets is to feed Brees.
You changed your tune since last offseason, huh?
I love Brees Hall.
You were saying that we didn't pay Dalvin Cook enough. You were saying that we need more veteran bodies in the backfield. I mean, for calling out Gitmo Bob, and we got receipts, man. I got receipts for you saying Brees won't be able to do it. There's no way he lasts a full season. We should trade him now. You were relentless on him.
Some guy says, "Where's Gitmo?" Oh, he doesn't come around here.
To Cuba.
He's been hiding ever since everything he says has been proven wrong.
It's in Cuba.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Obviously, the big headline of the week or the big news of the day is Woody Johnson came out and said, he obviously Zach. If you didn't already know Zach wasn't coming back, there's no way he's coming back after the comments made by Woody Johnson just yesterday when he said that we didn't have a backup quarterback. And there's no way back from that for Zach Wilson. Wouldn't you agree?
That's why billionaires shouldn't drink wine and then get put in front of a microphone. Number one, he looked tipsy during the interview, which is his right. Like, you know what I mean? But like now you're just basically telling the rest of the league you just drove anything that you were going to get for him down into the fucking ground.
Yeah, to me, that
you just ruined your GM's capability and playability with this trade.
Right. How about just saying we need to be healthy? We need to stay healthier. How about just saying we needed to stay healthier, or we needed to have a better plan in case
Yeah.
we weren't healthy?
Keep it simple.
Anything,
Keep it
anything,
simple. Here,
anything.
I'll be a GM in the NFL. You be Joe Douglas. Ring,
Hey,
ring,
hey,
ring,
remember?
ring.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey, I'm so and so from this team. I wanted to offer you a conditional 7th rounder 4 years from now for Zach Wilson. Are you going to get a better offer than this?
Well, I had a lot of offers for 6 rounds, and I was very close to getting one of the teams up to a 5th round.
No, you're
But
not, because your
after,
owner just went public and told everybody we don't want the guy. So I know you don't want him. You have no
yes,
leverage
yes,
against
yes,
me.
you
Take
got
the
me.
7th and shut up.
Okay, my bonehead boss did say that. How about this? A conditional 7th in 2025.
Nope. Your owner don't
Okay,
want him there.
26.
Your owner doesn't want him there. You've been Joe Douglas, who has robbed everyone in trades because the ownership and the organization has been zipped up.
Okay, how about you take him
You
and
lost
pay?
all your leverage, Joe.
How about you take him and pay $300 of his salary?
Too much. Your owner doesn't want him there. Cut him then. Take the whole cap hit.
Will you at least give him the Gatorade that he needs when he's on the sideline?
What color Gatorade?
It doesn't have to be green, orange.
No.
All right, you got me.
Like, you literally painted Douglas into a corner now.
Yeah.
You don't open your mouth like this as an owner. You let your GM do his job. You don't make, hey, Joe, thanks, bud. You don't make public statements about who you don't want on your team anymore when they have a goddamn contract. He still has another year to go.
Yeah, I don't understand how you could trash a player that you are openly shopping in the trade market. It is the definition of dumb. It is really the definition of dumb.
Let's bring this up. That's what JG should have done for Rodgers. Too bad he's a sucker. I disagree with this, some guy. I usually agree with a lot of your takes, and I'll tell you why. They moved down 2 spots. They swapped from 13 to 15. And then he protected himself with injury, which is why we still have our number 1 pick this year. That if Rodgers didn't play 65% of the plays, we keep our 1 and it stays as a 2. So I think Douglas did a good job protecting the Jets. It's not like if we gave up a 1 and we lost Rodgers 4 plays in, Joe Douglas would be terminated. You don't hope for the injury, but you plan for it. And I thought he did a really good job of protecting the Jets in case of a catastrophic moment. And we still have the 10th pick because Joe Douglas had the foresight and the wherewithal to say, all right, we're going to put this clause in the deal.
I think the bottom line is if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go down, stayed healthy, and the offensive line, I mean, you can't. There are a lot of what ifs, but even if he just stayed healthy and we made the playoffs with no offensive line, we wouldn't be thinking about it as much. Now, if we didn't have 13 different offensive lines last year, and we would have had some reasonable amount, something reasonable, they stay reasonably healthy, like any other team, just average.
I was turning down calls.
Playoffs. Yeah, if we win 11, 12 games and go to the playoffs and win a playoff game with Aaron Rodgers, nobody cares about what we gave in that trade. But with Aaron Rodgers not completing a pass and going down on the 4th play, now we're going to sit here and we could pick bones. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like they originally thought they were going to get 2 first-rounders, remember, in the beginning?
Yeah.
They were talking like it was going to be 2 first-round picks or a first round and a second round. At least it wasn't that. It's going to end up really costing us 2 second-round picks and a little bit more.
Which is fine. And the one, you basically traded Elijah Moore because that was the pick that we used to send the second last year was the Elijah Moore pick. We still had a second-round pick last year. We still ended up with Joe Tippmann. So you basically traded Elijah Moore and a second-round pick this year. I'm okay with that. And you know me. I'm the proud New York Jet fan. I'm always going to find a way to view anything that happens with the Jets in a positive light. All right. Sometimes I slip up. Sometimes I'm weak. Sometimes I falter a little bit, but I always try to get back on my path with this team, right?
Yeah. Some guy's on fire.
Good.
Tom.
He protected
Some guy's on fire. He's angry. Oh, this fan base is so angry.
Yeah. But let's put a positive on this year. Our offensive flaws got exposed.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the good thing. Rodgers got hurt early in the season. He didn't get hurt the last game of the year. We have the ability to fix our offense because the product that we had last year, even with Rodgers, I don't think was good enough to get to our goal. Lazard was a disappointment. The injuries to the O-line, we weren't doing what we wanted to do. So now, maybe it's a blessing in disguise, guys. Maybe going forward, the New York Jets get that second wide receiver that they need. Maybe they get the linemen that stay healthy. You know, it's sometimes a positive can happen from a negative, and that's how I'm looking to view this season. That we know our flaws on offense, we know what we need to get to the next level. Let's go get it.
You know how we know you want to talk about positives from this year, and that's a good thing. Nobody talks about that. I could name positives. Garrett Wilson was not a fluke, even with no quarterback and no offensive line and a historically bad offense. He's still got 1,000 yards receiving. He's still showing that he's a stud. That wasn't like a one-year wonder type thing. We know we have our legit WR1. Breece Hall, who we were worried about, will he ever be the same? Will he be able to come back? Did we just lose the Breece Hall for years and wonder what he could have been because he had such a bad injury? It was more than just an ACL. It was actually like two different injuries. He comes back and he gets 1,600 yards from scrimmage and looks every bit the superstar he ever was. And now he's going to come back completely healthy next year.
With the worst quarterback play and worst offensive line in football, he still did that.
Right.
That's
he
amazing.
Still did that. Imagine what he does if suddenly Aaron Rodgers stays healthy and plays just an average Aaron Rodgers season with an offensive line that doesn't have to have better players nearly as much as it just has to stay healthy. Yeah. That we run back the same offensive line every week. And then another positive, Joe Tippmann is a freaking positive. We got ourselves an all-pro type offensive lineman. He's going to develop into a star, and he's versatile. He can play any of the guard position, center position. He's already done it as a rookie. Yeah. We have and then the most positive thing of all is we ran back our defense. People said, can they run it back? Was it a fluke? Was it this? Was it that? Our defense got even better. It's even more improved. Jermaine Johnson took a huge step forward. A huge, tremendous step. He's a superstar. Sauce Gardner proved he was for real and it wasn't a fluke. He's a legitimate Hall of Fame type star. We have a lot of good things to build on here. We have a great defense. We have a superstar running back. We have a true WR1. We have a decent tight end room. We just have to – we know exactly what we need in this offseason. We have to find another weapon to help Garrett Wilson out, and we have to find offensive linemen. That's it. That's it. It'd be nice to get a defensive tackle. There's a wish list of other things that would be nice. But really, the needs – because every team has wish lists. No team is perfect with all pros, 22 players. But the reality is our needs, our holes are – we have some draft capital still, a first and a third. We can address offensive line with that if we wanted, if we got a wide receiver in free agency, or vice versa. The point is we have free agency, some money, and we have some draft picks to address two major things. And that is we need another weapon offensively, and we need some help on the offensive line. We need a couple of guys to come in. And the third thing is nothing we can control, and that's health. If we could just run back the same offensive line most of the season, that is going to be the biggest improvement on the entire team, more than any of the players, is just offensive line health.
Agreed. I usually don't agree with you. but I feel that you have taken my take and just used it as your own against me, knowing that I would agree with it. Yeah, I'm not one of these guys. Listen, I'm still of the mindset of if Romo Dunze or Neighbors are there at 10, take the elite weapon. You can find offensive linemen. It's more rare to find that elite talent. Imagine if we get a guy who is equal to or a little different and better at some things than Garrett Wilson is. Aaron Rodgers is lost in the playoffs because he has been too persistent with trying to force feed the ball to his stars, even when they're bracketed and doubled. And he throws uncharacteristic interceptions in big games because he doesn't have the rest of the supporting cast that he trusts in those moments. Imagine if he had two of those guys, Jer. We need healthy linemen that are NFL caliber starters. We don't need 5 first-round picks on the line. That fascination that Jets fans have is dog poop. We need 5 quality starters. You have Vera Tucker. Hopefully he stays healthy. You have Tittman. I was a little shocked that his pass block rating was 30 out of 34 qualified centers this year. So I'd like to see a little bit, obviously with Rodgers there. Excuse me. We're going to throw the ball more. I'd like to see that come up, but he was quality in the run game. I think it was a good starting point. Tomlinson, I mean, with that contract, I'd be shocked if he returns. You got Mitchell and you got Warren. I don't know if Carter Warren wasn't awful, but I don't know if I can go into 2024 in a win now year with Carter Warren as my right tackle.
You definitely don't want to rely on him.
Yeah. And nothing against him. I just didn't see enough that I can stamp and say he's got to be the right tackle. We're stupid. No one should be there with Carter Warren. Showed some nice flashes.
There's a chance that Carter Warren could be a middle of the road by literally 16th in the league right tackle. There's a chance, but we can't rely on that. That's what we're saying, right? We don't know that, and we can't go into this season uncertain. It's going to be great if he could develop into that. And it's, but we don't know that. We can't make the argument that he is a middle of the road right tackle right now. We can only hope.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of, we all do mock drafts. We all do them. I've been big in mind of trading down from 10 because of guys like Brian Thomas Jr., Tyler Guyton, Funagua. I think people said it's like Tagovailoa, even there's no N in it. You say it with an N. I don't know. But I'm okay with that 10 because I think 10 is like the doomsday position because there's a lot of good offense. But just being at 10 is like you're right outside of it. Now, we have to hope a defensive player or two go. We have to hope that the Chargers look at their defense. Thank you, Tigo. How you been, bud? Fuanga. Okay. Fuanga. It's like Goose Fabra from Anger Management.
You don't sound
Fabra.
Wait, if you don't sound out the end, it's Fuanga then. But whatever. No, I hear what you're saying. I think, and I hate that we have to qualify this every time, but this is what Dom C has done. Dom C has done this to the world. You need to have a trade partner. Yes, you need to have a trade partner. Here's why I think we could have a trade partner at 10. It could be the last chance. It depends on how the quarterbacks fall, but it could be a team's last chance to grab a quarterback. I honestly believe, and people might not agree with this. I think J.J. McCarthy and Pittsburgh Steelers are a dream match. I really do. I think that J.J. McCarthy is the absolute perfect. If I was a Steeler fan, I'd be obsessed with it. And as a Jet fan, I'd worry about it. J.J. McCarthy with Pittsburgh Steelers makes so much sense. Now, if Jaden Daniels gets drafted before 10, so the 3 top guys are off the board, you never know which team is going to want to secure and make sure they get their guy, especially when it comes to a quarterback. Also, Bowers could be there at 10, and that's a guy people might trade up for. Now, keep in mind, if it's a team just picking at 12, 13 who wants to go up and get Bowers, we only need a second-round pick, because going from 10 to 13 does nothing to us that takes away from the value of that 10. I mean, getting that second-round pick is so invaluable, because the truth is, if we drop down to 13, 14, whatever it is, we probably still get the guy that we would have taken at that point. Like if it's a Fawaga, if it's JC, whoever they want to take, the reality is it's probably not going to kill us to go down a few spots at that point. Now, if we go down to 20, we're going to get more than just a second-round pick. Now we have the ammo to take that second-round pick with the other ammo and trade up to the back of the first, and not only get a guy like, again, a JT Latham, a Tyler Guyton, but also get like a Ladd McConkey. So there's a lot of potential, but these things don't happen often. As you know, the majority of teams statistically, if you look at the top 15 picks, how many are going to trade down? Right? So it's not like a likely thing. Oh, we're definitely going to do it. We might do it in our mocks every time we mock, but it's not. I mean, the reality is it's big news when it happens. It doesn't happen often. I don't think JD has ever done it as far as trade down. That's the opposite direction in the first round with this type of pick. But that doesn't mean I don't think he's likely to do it. I think that he just might not have been in a situation to do it, or might not have the offer to do it. The only argument you could say about JD when he should have traded down, especially now in hindsight, is the Zach Wilson pick. Because none of the quarterbacks really panned out to be worth a second-round pick. And can you
imagine if we got that haul, right? Imagine if we got that 49er haul.
3 first-round picks, a second round, or a third. Can you imagine if we got that?
It would have been more. It would have been more to go to number 2 from 3.
Yeah.
Man, if we would have got that haul. If we would have stayed with Darnold and got that haul.
Right. Even if Darnold didn't work out, we would have just, we would have just needed a quarterback, though.
Yeah, but if you trade back, now you keep Darnold because there's no pressure of the number 3 pick is here, the number 2 pick is here. You slide down a little bit, maybe take a quarterback in the mid round. So it's always what if with the Jets, right? But back what I was saying before, I had to take that call. I'm sorry. Something I've been doing with my mocks. The Jets right now have a 1, a 3, and 2 4s. I love trading down into the mid-teens, getting a second-round pick, and then taking that 2 with a 4, and moving up as much as we can to go get a tackle if Tyler Guyton falls, if Powers from Oregon is there late round 1. Go get me
Mims too.
I'm not as big on Mims. I think he's going to go because his potential.
He's raw. That's the thing.
But I think the potential that late teens, early 20s, I don't see us going up that far. But the 49ers, the Ravens, teams that are stout and okay with moving back and who draft well in the mid rounds, eating up a 4th round pick and making the most of it. So I would be okay with that. We still keep our 3. If we can come up with 2 1s in a draft where we didn't have a number 2 to start, that's a hell of a maneuver by Joe. It's next giant seal of approval.
If we traded down, maybe coupled to 4th with and with the second to move up a little bit, if we walked away from this draft 1 and 2, Tyler Guyton, Ladd McConkey, or Robertson Jr., and Tyler Guyton. And then in the 3rd round picked, and I see Johnny Jimenez is mentioning it, like a Zach Zinter or whatever. That is an absolute grand slam, in my opinion. That would be as big as it would be tremendous for me. I would be so overjoyed, because what a way to fill in holes and rebuild the offensive line. I think Tyler Guyton is the maybe the best value in the draft if he stays where he is. If he really is picked in the 20s, he might be the best value in the entire draft, in my opinion. I watched him. He is, he is everything Fuaga was. He really was at the senior. I know it's only a few practices, but he showed up. He was there. He was a beast. He was dominant.
I think Joe has to operate this draft with an all-in mentality if he wants to keep the job here. And it's going to maybe make him do some things out of character. Now, I know he's been about accumulating picks and maybe trading back and getting some. But you need guys that aren't question marks. You go get a guy like Powers, All-American. You get a guy like Beebe from Kansas State, All-American. You go get Zinter from Michigan. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I just want
to go get me guys who are experienced, who are dominant, and who played at an elite level, because those are the guys that are the best chances of coming in and starting day one.
I just want to say
we need those guys.
Yeah, I just want to respond to this and say financially, if we traded from 10 to 20 and then traded up to 28 or 27 in the draft, 20 and 27th in the draft, if you combine that money, isn't as much as 10.
Yeah.
So I disagree with
That's why the trade back first is important.
Right. The trade back first saves us that money, because the drop off from 10 in salary to number 20 or even 18 is pretty significant. There's a drop off there. And then the 28th pick, the 27th pick of the draft doesn't make that much. So even if it's a couple of million more,
I mean, not much for an NFL player, Jared. For us, we would be like swimming in money, like
right.
But in the NFL money world,
yeah. No, I get your point, Tigo, but I just think in this case, I think going back from 10 to 20, for example, if we look up, and you can look it up, and I know Tigo will, if you look up the total salary, because it's all structured and set, of like look up pick 20 and pick 27.
The rookie contract number,
and combine it, and then look at the contract for pick 10 and see what the difference is.
The rookie contract for number 10 is $22.6 million. Say we move back to 16.
Yeah.
It's $16.5 million.
So that saves 6.
And then say if we trade up to 29, where I think the Ravens are, that's $13 million. That's the length of the contract. That's not per year.
Right. So
that's
per
the length
year
of the contract.
Right. So you're talking about 13 million over 4 years. You're talking about 3 million a year.
You're going 29. But you're getting an impact player, most likely, right? In theory.
It's
you're getting an impact player to help win this year. I don't want projects. I don't want question marks. If they label a guy that can say he can come in, he can start right at this spot. We know what we can do. We've seen it on film. We've seen it in person. We met with him. He loves football. We know this guy's going to be committed to his craft. Go get him. Go get him. I'll be honest. I'm at the point, fuck the future. You have the quarterback to win now. You have the defense to win now. You have the receiver, the cornerback, the defensive ends, the running back on rookie contracts. Go fucking win. That's it. Go win. And if you're Joe Douglas and you swing for the fences and it goes foul and you miss, you're not here to deal with the salary cap issues.
Well, I love moves that are good for the short term and good for the future. Trading down, getting to if that scenario happened, if we got Guyton and Lad McConkey, any kind of combination like that, if that really was to happen, for example, that's not just better for next year, this season. That's better for the team long run. That means we get, rights to these guys for 5 years. I mean, so I would much prefer that than one guy and
you
leaving
can have them up to 7 years before you have to extend them, because you can have 4 years, you pick up the 5th-year option, and then you could franchise for 2 years.
One of them.
So you can control a guy for 7 years before he has to hit the market.
Right. And
granted, you don't want to do that. You want to have the cap-friendly extension where you can prorate it and all that.
Absolutely.
But let's not act like I mean,
might
you look
wanna
at teams that give out contracts like the Rams when they had Ramsey and they had Donald and they had Stafford and they were giving out these ridiculous contracts. You find a way to make it work. We haven't even begun extending our stars. Let's fucking win before we have to.
now, how do you feel this Johnny brought this up before. He said, "Do we have interest in Donovan Smith who might want to sign with the Jets?" To me, he's a very meh tackle, maybe even below average tackle. I think as a depth piece, if he was inexpensive, like if they just piled him on as depth, fine. But I don't know that he's better than Carter Warren, to be honest, or Max Mitchell.
I'll be honest, I haven't done any research. I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
I'm
if you
kind
look
of
at
shocked though that that a player getting ready for a Super Bowl says like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to go to the Jets." Like he knows the Jets are offensive line hungry. He knows
yeah,
that they'll probably overpay. So he's probably self-promoting and setting
yeah.
his market now, saying, "Hey guys, I'm interested." And now it lets other teams know, "Oh, the Jets need an offensive lineman. If we're interested in this guy, we might have to, you know, bid for him." So maybe he's just doing a little self-promoting, but I think it's asinine. A couple days before a Super Bowl, you're talking about free agency. Like
I think it's
that, to
asinine.
me, that's a red flag, and I don't want that type of player on my team. I
Right,
don't
and
care if he's a Jet fan. I want a guy focused on the details, focused on the now.
he's simply not that much of a player. He really isn't. I could make arguments of why I think Carter Warren is better and why Max Mitchell is better. I'm with Tigo on this. I am just shocked at how fast people gave up on Max Mitchell, given that he was very serviceable his first year. We know he had those health issues. We know he missed camp. And then it's the same thing with Carter Warren. You're talking about a guy who missed the last 8 games of a season, missed training camp. He's a rookie. The fact that he came in was at all serviceable is amazing. And I don't know why people are putting a ceiling on this guy. I don't want to rely on him, but the reality is Carter Warren has a realistic possibility to pan out to be an average to an above average right tackle in this league. And he's versatile enough to play left tackle. So I think we should be excited about the Carter Warren pick. And I don't think people give Joe Douglas enough credit for finding him in the 6th round or whatever it was. Yeah.
What do I say all the time? The best thing for the New York Jets is guys like Mitchell or Warren going and winning a spot and the organization believing in them. Now, if we're the Jets 2-3 years ago, you'd probably very well go into the next season giving him the position and saying, "Hey, go win it. Go develop. We're going to work with you. We're going to develop you."
Yeah.
I don't
And
know if
look, they might
year
already
they do
know.
that, though, to be honest with you.
Well, they might already feel it. They might already say, look, we're saying that we don't want to rely on him. They might be looking and saying, based on what we saw him do on the field and his growth throughout each game that he played, and based on what we're seeing in practice, and based on why we drafted him, we believe full-heartedly he's going to be the right tackle, and he could be a right tackle.
I hope
And
so.
maybe he'll be the 24th best right tackle in the league, 25th.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be below average. But you know what? If he stays healthy and plays all 16, 17 games, it's okay. Like you were saying, you don't need stars. You need serviceable guys that are available to play, that play every week. So
I would love to have a starting offensive lineman making $600,000. Like, right? Like, where's the problem in that? Like, no fan should be disappointed with that because now we can spend that money elsewhere. Now, the Jets have to figure out, and let me add this, and I know Tigo will have a conniption when he hears this. I can't go into the season with, if Warren's the starter, I can't have Max Mitchell as my backup tackle. You want to be the guard tackle, like the last offensive lineman, but I would love to bring Schweitzer back if interested. I don't know if he has another year on the deal, but I would love Schweitzer, who's center guard swing, Mitchell guard tackle swing. Get a starting left tackle, get a guard, and replace Tomlinson, and then get me a veteran with starting experience and bring him in and say, we're going to give you the chance to win right tackle. Wes is signed. Good. I'm happy about that. Thank you, Tico. I like Schweitzer. I thought he did a good job as a backup swing guard center, which is a good guy to have in there. And he's involved with the team, and the team likes him. So he's a good dude to have in the locker room. But go get me a guard and a tackle. Now, I'm not saying they both have to be rookies on the left side, but my backups, I don't want to be inexperienced rookie dependent on the backups. Schweitzer's got some starting experience for guard center. Mitchell has some. I'm
That's
okay
what
with McGovern for another year, but McGovern comes in as the backup with the veteran minimum.
And at the right price, that's where I see a Donovan Smith from Kansas City.
Okay.
A backup guy.
Yeah.
You're
I'm okay with that. Come in and
right.
compete, right? Come in and compete. We're not giving you the job. We're not paying you as a starter.
Worst case scenario, worst case scenario, our left tackle goes down. You bring in Donovan Smith. I'm feeling pretty good about that. At least I'm not happy our tackle went down, but at least I'm thinking we're not putting in shit. We're putting in a guy who's obviously played in multiple playoff games, Super Bowls. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah. You're not going to have a Trent Williams and a Zach Martin at every position.
Right.
But you need guys that the best word that comes to mind is stout. We need guys who are stout. We need guys that aren't going to get thrown around. We need guys that aren't going to get blown up. We need guys that aren't going to get beat off the snap. We need guys who are going to get engage and counter. And something else that we have to add, we talked about this a lot last offseason. Aaron Rodgers just being there makes the line better. And to remind everyone, here's why. You're going to have less guys in the box. It's not going to be as frequent as 8-9 in the box, because if you do that, you're checking, you're going to Wilson, whoever weapon B is, right? Now, you also have the quarterback who knows what the defenses are doing. Remember from Hard Knocks or One Jet Drive when he was talking shit, the safety walked up. He's like, yeah, you're not even blitzing. I know what you're doing. Like, I would love to see games like that where he knows what the defense is doing. He knows the calls, and he's going to beat it. He's going to get the ball out quick, except if Dwayne Brown chop blocks, then he holds the ball and gets injured, which still blows my goddamn mind. But getting the ball out, reading the defense helps the offensive line. Now it helps them in the run game because there's less guys in the box to block. So it's a domino effect of positive things for the Jets instead of the constant negative domino effect that we've been experiencing for 14 seasons. 13. I don't know. I lose track. 13 because Sophia's 13.
Yeah.
So it's
look, and I see it in the chat. We absolutely do not need a top 3 offensive line. If we have middle of the league's 15th, 16th best offensive line that stays healthy, that's all I care about. Just stay healthy, and it stays relatively healthy, average or better in the league. So in every way, we're in the middle of the league with Aaron Rodgers, and we add another weapon for Garrett Wilson, another contributing weapon. We can make, we can make a deep run. We're very for real. That's all it's going to really take. I'm not saying all it's going to take like it's nothing. Rebuilding this offensive line to being middle of the league average is not an easy task, but it's better than, and I like that Tico pointed this out, than thinking we have the task of making it a top 5 offensive line. That's not the task. Just middle of the league. If we could make that happen, and we could get another weapon for Garrett Wilson, and then the health thing is, no one can control the health, but if the health is there, we're real. And I don't know why people are so down on this team. Everybody's got to push. I understand, but I don't understand why people won't let it go. Like, it's a new year. Let it go.
Yeah.
And let's focus on next year and what this team needs to do to rise.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I want to see the Jets offensive line be the lead in. Percentage of snaps played together. We've got to be at the bottom of that every year, the last couple of years. I want to see week 1, week 9, week 18, the same guys. Sure, guys are going to get dinged up here and there, come out, get taped up, go back in. I don't want to see guys getting carted off. I don't want to see guys on stretchers. I don't want to see the biggest story of the week is what free agent offensive lineman did the Jets get? Who did they sign off of somebody's practice squad because there's another injury? I'm sick and tired of that news. That news is so deflating. I want to see Rich Cimini giving me tweets that say it's the first time the Jets have started the same offensive line 7 games in a row since. It's the first time the Jets have started the same offensive line 13 games in a row since. It's the first time the Jets have completed a season with the same starting line in their history. I want to see good first-time positive tweets. I'm a lunatic, though. I'm crazy. I root for things that are impossible and improbable, I guess. Yeah, that's another thing is the protections that I missed before, Kevin. Great point.
Yeah, that's going to help too. But I don't want to just rely on that. I want to build them the best offensive line we can, and let Aaron Rodgers squeeze the best out of them by putting them in the best, positions to succeed. I mean, that's another thing that we talked about a little last season that we have to remember. Aaron Rodgers, all you got to do every play is make sure he has the personnel. He's looking at the defense. He's reading the alignments. He's calling the audibles. He's setting us up and putting us in good positions to win each play. And no one's perfect and no one's going to win each play. But he's certainly as good as any offensive coordinator or any offense in the league at it. He's really strong at it. He has a ton of experience. So all our job is to do on offense is to put the right personnel on the field so he's able to call those audibles and call the right plays.
Oh, I forgot I have controls. We got to go off the Jets for a minute here.
Okay.
Johnny, I've said this on the IOW show that you popped in on yesterday.
Oh, God.
The best part of the Knicks fans in January and February is how high they're getting. Because you can't crash unless you get high to begin with. Just like the Jets did with all offseason, how high we were from April 24th until 4 plays in. You can't crash unless you get high. So enjoy it. I mean, lost by 14 yesterday to the Mavericks at home.
Because the entire team is injured. But
you got MVP Jalen Brunson, MVP candidate Jalen Brunson.
He didn't play.
Brunson didn't play yesterday?
He didn't play yesterday. They were missing four starters were out yesterday. They're playing. I mean, give me a break. And the other thing is nothing could be more pathetic than getting Irving and whatever that guy's name was. I'm forgetting his name already. The center you got there from Golden State and from freaking Oklahoma.
Give a shit about the NBA.
Kevin Durant. Now he doesn't care about the NBA.
It's an unwatchable product. It's just guys fucking threes.
Try to buy yourself a championship team, and it collapsed and fell apart in your face. There's no bigger joke in the NBA overall over the long 50 years than the freaking Nets. They're a joke. They're ridiculous, and they represent New Jersey, not Brooklyn.
I care about the NBA as much as I care about my ex-mother-in-law. Like, I don't care about the NBA. Here's why.
That's why I have a Jets channel and not a freaking basketball channel.
Okay. Well, Johnny brought it up. So, blame Johnny. And I will say this. The NBA is like a virgin. No D. That's it. Now I'll move on.
Wild Wave is in the crowd. I love Wild Wave. I love Wild Wave.
Billy was here too. Tony Alexio.
Wild Wave is that guy in the foxhole, man, that got you back.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Haven't seen Dakota around. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Where's Dakota? I see him in other channels. He doesn't like my channel anymore. Dakota's mad.
Johnny, I tell you what, Johnny, I love it. I love it. It reminds me of Linsanity, where there was a couple games in February that year and nothing ever came out of it. I see the same thing happening now. You don't want to peak in January or February in the NBA. This is where teams are in cruise control. Mid-March is where you want to start amping your game up, getting ready for the playoffs. You don't want to peak now. And the Knicks are peaking now. I don't know if they have the superstars to sustain it long term. That's all. Good luck. Enjoy it. Come check back with me in early May. Make sure to shut down 8th Avenue again over one win against the Hawks that's in the series that you still lost. Somebody said to me the other day on Twitter, they go, well, I'm a Jet fan too, bro, just like you. You don't think they're shutting down 8th Avenue? You're not shutting down 8th Avenue if we get a playoff win? I go, what am I going to do if we have a playoff win? I'm going to enjoy my post-game coffee on the couch with my feet up, being exhausted as hell. That's what I do to celebrate a win now. I make a coffee and I sit there and I just decompress. That's it. I'm not shutting down the streets. I don't want to be around crowds and people. Hopefully it's a home game. Maybe I'll be there, but I don't know, man.
Elamuminar. Who is that? Call me
Patriots.
stupid, but I don't know who that is. Oh, the guy from the Patriots.
Patriots guy.
He's versatile. He could do guard or tackle. He's like AVT. That would be nice.
Tony, thanks, bro. Thanks, man. Tomorrow's 11 months. It's almost a year.
I can't wait till we get the 1 year mark. You know what we're gonna do to celebrate? I got like this amazing freaking whiskey that we're gonna pop open to celebrate that 1 year. Oh,
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Oh, so funny story.
All right, sorry, my dog is freaking stuck in the porch again. We barracks.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I got to see if I can get her.
So, it's too big. That's what she said. Give me a second here, people. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing. All right. So, full screen Nick for you. So, I'm from Woodbridge, New Jersey. I went to high school at Colonia. Even though if you're not from here, you may know of that because it became infamous when Eric LeGrand from Rutgers got injured tragically. Eric has a coffee shop in town, and there's a UPS store next to it. So yesterday, my ex-wife came up with Nick, and we had to get some papers notarized because she's taking them on vacation this summer, and they need passports. So we come out of the UPS store, and I see Eric and his mom, and he's coming out of the car, out of the van. And I'm like, Eric, you leaving? He's like, no, I'm coming out. And we talked to him. I was like, hey, I don't know if you know me, but, I was a couple years ahead of you. I went to school with your sister. She played ball. I was a big fan of hers. And, I talked to him for a minute. And I was like, I got to tell you, man, now that I quit drinking, you come out with a whiskey. I'm like, I could have had you retired, man. I'm like, you come out with it a couple months after I stopped drinking. So he had a good laugh with that. But yeah, it's always cool when you run into Eric. Where Nick played football at the Woodbridge Golden Saints, Eric LeGrand came up as a Golden Saint, and like they have the placard up on the wall with his name and number on it. Knobcraft, what's up, buddy? Billy, but the reality. So back to the Jets with the draft. I think we have more flexibility in round 1 than people think. Free agency is going to give us a better clue. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to throw everyone into chaos right now without chaos here. If we lose Huff, I don't think you can rule out defensive line. Go look at the 49ers drafts. They took Armstead, Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw, Bosa. I'm missing somebody else. But they took D-line time and time again. If you're losing Huff, I don't think you can rule it out, guys. Say you get a Boyd, a Ridley, a Curtis Samuel at receiver in free agency, and then you get Elamunar, or you go get Tyron Smith, and then you get another backup type of player. I don't think you can rule out. If the best edge, if Latu or Turner are there, you could tell me that this organization and the way that this team is built is not going to be tempted. I think, and you have Murphy from Texas too. You put Murphy and Quinnen on the same D line. You bring back Jefferson in a rotation and go get a run stuffer as your defensive tackles. You can't let the defensive line fall off. It's been your driving force with this team. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. lose their jobs. Do you know what Jonah Williams is going to cost you? More than I'd like to pay. I think you're going to look at 3 for 36 minimum with him. 3 to 30, 3 to 36. I think that would be just off the top of my head. We can't trade Huff. We would have to tag Huff and then trade him. Now, I don't think they risk putting the tag on him because you're putting $20 million on a guy who, to this point, is not shown to be a full-time player. Not that he can't show. We haven't utilized him. Let me rephrase that. We haven't utilized him like that. So maybe his strength is not being the full-time guy. Maybe his strength is being used the way we're using him. But now, if you tag him, it's $20 million on the cap. You can't. I don't see a team trading players or assets and dealing with that tag. I just don't. I think it's bad business. I think you let Huff, if you can't renegotiate Huff and get a deal, I think he wants to hit the market. He said it himself. There's no hometown discount, none of that. I think you've seen the last of Huff as New York Jet. I really do. They drafted Will McDonald last year, knowing that Lawson was in his last year of his contract, knowing that Huff was in the last year of his contract. And this is what this team does. They let Solomon Thomas walk from the 49ers. Not that we did that, but the 49ers, we're built on D like they are. You let the guy go, you bring in the next lineman, and you replace him. You keep bringing in new, fresh bodies. And if, when you have a guy who can get 20 sacks a year like Bosa, you keep him, and then you just keep replacing the pieces around him. Boom, 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 boom. Tigo saying, I think this is about Jonah Williams. He will get more than 5. Yeah, he'll get more than 5. Definitely. Yeah, I think 3 for 30 is the minimum that you'll see. You'll see $10 million a year. Just because if a team's playing him to start, you're going to get at least 8 to 10 million, even if you're a low end starter nowadays. If you're look what Dwayne Brown got. Jonah's much younger than Dwayne Brown. Tony the GM. I'm with you, Tony. I'm with you. I think that they're going to have their board and they're going to address free agency where they don't have to go into the draft with, we need this player at this position. And I think some of the names that as of now before free agency, I think Latu, I think Murphy, I think Turner, Odunze and Neighbors, Bowers, a trade down. Like where we are at 10, there's so many possibilities. And the picture will close down next month. It'll start to shrink. We'll have a better idea of who we're going to go at. But I don't think Alt makes it Wild Wave. I think that's a pipe dream. I think I can't see a team like the Titans passing on Alt. I think he screams Tennessee football. He's a technician. He's stout. He's powerful. I can't see Alt falling past Tennessee. That would shock me.
That's what she said.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a... Oh, okay. You all right? Did you have to chase the dogs down the street?
I had to.
It's just how you breathe when you do a flight of stairs, because I can relate. I'm not even making fun of you for it.
I just ripped. No, and also I just took a hammer. I had to bang and pry off a panel of wood that was kind of creating. We had like our porch outdoor. The outer layer, we built all these panels to close it, so they can't go under the porch. But she found a way through the stairs to get in, but can't get out. So I had to pry off a giant piece of wood, like pry out the nails and remove it so she can crawl out. It's crazy. Fucking dogs, man. They're costing me a fortune. I'm not replacing it. Jeez.
All right.
If Tigo was around, I could have put him through the little hole and he could have like pushed my dog out for me.
Did the dog get into another yard?
No, he was under my porch. Like he's literally under
porch.
my wooden deck. She was stuck under there. So I needed to I just ripped the paneling out that was like, like to create a hole for her to crawl through.
Knob. I wish my name was Wind. This man is sucking wind.
I need one of Knobcraft's. I need his bread knife. I would have cut right through that wood instead of trying to pry it out. Can you imagine Knobcraft sharpening his knife?
So I was just talking about the possibilities of 10. How there's so many players that can be in play as of now. I don't think you can rule out D-line. I don't think you can. I think if the best defensive ends, Latu, Turner, and even Murphy at D tackle are there, the way this organization has operated, I don't think you can rule those guys out. I'll tell you where I was with it. If we go get a Samuel or a Boyd or even up to like a Ridley or a Pittman in free agency at wide receiver, now you have your A, B with Wilson and whoever. Now you go get a Tyron Smith or a Lawanu from New England. I think that opens up the possibilities of don't forget, we may lose Huff. And this team or the solid defense always operates the 49ers, bringing in defensive line after defensive line after defensive line.
Anything is possible.
I don't think Knobcraft, as of today, you cannot rule out D-line because the D-line has been the best group on this team. You cannot let them fall off. I don't want to find out the question of, is the secondary good because of the pass rush? Is the pass rush good because of the secondary? I want them both to remain elite so we don't even have that question. That's me. So let's get into your question about Gitmo Bob's take on the linebacking core.
All I know is, and this is the thing that bothers me about Gitmo Bob. I'm not attacking him as a person. I'm just saying this is what bothers me. I'm going to be honest. When I make a take, he's allowed to rip it up. He goes into my comments, Jeremy, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. This guy's crap. And the second you say anything about one of his takes, oh, he's attacking me. Well, oh my God, this is awful. You're a bully. It's like, all I'm saying is I made a video with my brother about the linebacker room. And we called it a C from the year before.
I remember
going into this past season. And all I said was, I think they could be a B plus, probably a B, because I didn't see the growth to be that much. But I said a solid B because I think Quincy Williams is getting better each year, and Mosley's a smart guy, and we only use 2 tackles, only 2 linebackers usually. We have Sherwood. Like I thought, I was feeling optimistic before the season that we would be fine at linebacker, and they would be a B. He ripped me apart. He said Mosley stinks, this and that. And he totally just, like ripped me up in the comments. You don't know, and that kind of thing. And now he never comes back and said, like, he'll never admit he was wrong. He'll still say Mosley's slow and gave up more. Like, he'll never admit he's wrong. Even though every other, agency in the NFL that judges talent will say the Jets had one of the top linebacker rooms, even though he's like pretty much the quarterback of the defense, and we had arguably the best defense in the NFL. He will not say I was wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. I'm happy the Jets have a great defense. And if you're not going to admit you're wrong, because I admit I was wrong about Zach Wilson all the time. Right? Coming out, I thought Zach Wilson was the greatest pick in the world. I made a fool out of myself, and I completely accepted accountability for that. And I tell everybody I was wrong. So people got to man up and admit when they were wrong. That's all.
Or go into hiding.
Well, he's not in hiding. He'll come out on other people's channels, but he won't come out on channels here. He won't come and show his face around here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that you're a bully.
I'm not even a bully. I'm just like, all I want him to say is I was wrong. That's all I want him to say. I was wrong. That, I don't know everything.
Some people can't do that.
It's just amazing to me. And I admit when I'm wrong, this is my Dirty Dancing quote. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Remember when he met Patrick Swayze? I know you're not the one that got Penny in trouble. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I mean, anybody, you could go back and look at my stuff. I've said things that were wrong all the time. I thought Sherwood was going to be a lot better this year than he was. I don't think he was horrible, but he didn't pop like I thought he was going to pop.
I like it. I like it. Who's Tony the GM, Jets Chaos?
Tony the GM. That's my GM.
Do we know who that is? Like, is that someone who is that someone who,
you never heard my videos with Tony who calls?
No, I'm asking the account holder. Is it somebody that we know who created a second account, or is it?
No, that's Tony. He used to be in here as Tony. Like
okay, I didn't.
He used to be in the chats as like Tony. I forgot what the initial was. Like he used to be in the chats.
Okay, all right. I was. That's what I'm asking. Who previously was the account holder?
He just upgraded his name to Tony the GM, which I just saw for the first time.
This is what we're going to talk about now. This is going to upset people. Just the thought of this is going to upset people. But I like to take the grenade, throw it, and see what happens. Right? Does Quincy Williams hold out because he massively outplayed his contract?
No, I don't think he will.
You don't think there's a possibility that you sign a team-friendly deal for 3 years and you go all pro and you're one of that deal? You don't think he wants to be paid as one of the top linebackers?
There's a possibility of anything, but I just like if you're asking me, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying if you're asking me if I think he's going to do it, I would say no, he's not going to do it. Because and maybe I'm looking at the best in people, but at the same time, the Jets took a big risk in doing it. The Jets pulled him off the garbage heap to do it. And it's not like these guys are getting paid. You know, it's not like we got him on a team-friendly deal for $1 million a year. I mean, he is a millionaire. You know, he is rich.
A punter is a millionaire in the NFL, though, dude. Thomas Hennessy is a millionaire. Ego shout out to Hennessy.
But look, he'll get his final deal. Maybe like he'll still be young enough, maybe to get a 1 year, like or 2 year with a second year option type of $12 to $15 million deal or something. He'll get something like that before it's all over. But the Jets developed him. The reality is, if he did that and he sat out, then Sherwood would step up, and that would be it. And then they would, they've been developing him, just like they developed Quincy.
Let's break this down. Here, 103, 30 seconds into the show, we could have a short on this on Quincy Williams. You ready? Let's break down the Quincy Williams contract. His base salary for 2024 is $6 million. His signing bonus is $900,000. His cap hit is $6.9 million. He signed a 3-year, $18 million deal this past offseason. There are linebackers in this league, one on our team, who makes about $18 million a year. His contract length, or the contract total, is what Mosley makes in a year. I think all of us collectively say Quincy Williams is more valuable as a player. We know Mosley is the brains of the operation. I think that we have to consider the fact that Quincy Williams may hold out and ask for more money. And I'll be honest with you, he deserves more.
He does, but at the same time, did Zach Wilson give money back when he underperformed?
No.
Like when you don't live up to your contract. So you're saying when a player like Lincoln Tomlinson doesn't live up to his contract, he still gets the money. But if the
Yeah.
GM loses in every case. Like, oh,
Yes.
I take a chance on Lakin. He doesn't pan out. I still have to pay him. I take a chance on Quincy. He overpans out. It's a home run for me. And oh, what? I don't get to win. I have to now pay him. Like,
That's the cost of doing business. When a guy outplays his contract, they're going to want to be played at. They're going to want to be paid at the level that they're playing.
Okay,
he played at an all-pro level. He outperformed many of all the linebackers in the league. Right. I think it's a possibility that he goes to the table and says, "Let's tear this up, and let's do right." It's the way of the world. I'm not saying it's anything on Quincy Williams. It's the way of the NFL world.
I'll say this: I don't think JD would go for it. I think it's a precedent he would not want to set. He'd say, "No, I gave you $18 million deal guarantee for 3 years. I made you a millionaire. I took you out of nowhere.
Only $9 million was guaranteed.
Okay, I picked you off the garbage heap. I developed you. We developed you. We gave you this contract. You're going to play it out. And if he sits out, I don't think we're going to give in because we don't have the money to. And I think that we like Sherwood. We like Sherwood. I think we have guys we've been developing. And if he sits out, I think it's going to be a lose-lose. Like, I think it's going to suck for us, but I think it's going to suck for him because he's not going to get paid. He's going to lose that money, have to give back bonus, pay fines. He's going to end up giving up, like blowing it. Because let's be honest. I'm not saying it's not an important position. Every position is important. On our defense, it is not the most important position. It just simply isn't. Right now, with our defensive line and our secondary, with our cornerbacks and Michael Carter playing on the inside, that's what that's the heart of our defense. And I would hate to lose him. I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt us. I don't know that other guys could fill in as good, but I just know that we would not. I don't think JD would do it.
You're gonna let the guy hold out?
I think JD would say.
I'm being devil's advocate here. I'm going off of your answer. I'm not coming to you, but I'm just for discussion purposes.
I'm not saying what I would do. I'm saying what
you
JD.
think that sends a good message to the locker room?
Yeah, I think JD would say when you sign a contract, that's what a contract is.
That's going to make other players not want to sign here.
Other players are going to say, I don't want to sign a contract with you because I might play better than it and you're not going to give me more money. But if I don't play up to it at all, I get to keep the money. It just seems
you have to realize that there is a portion of the players who pay me what I'm worth.
What's the point?
Portion of players in the NFL. You don't know your health. You don't know your longevity in this league. You capitalize on when you can capitalize.
What is the point of signing a contract then? What's the point of doing it if you're a GM? What's the point of guaranteeing money and signing a player to a contract if all you could do is lose? Okay, if the player doesn't play well, I still have to pay him. If he plays well, he's going to demand more money. Then why give him a contract at all?
I'm just saying, I think it's a possibility that it happens. Tigo, we're just having a discussion about it because it's a short deal. And I think it's a possibility that a player who just made All-Pro on $6 million a year says, pay me like an All-Pro. I don't think that's making up a story. I think that's a legit possibility. Whether you extend them and front more money up and add more years to it now to lock them up, I think it's a possibility that the Quincy Williams contract is renegotiated, increased, or extended. All of it. Yeah.
So
I think any contract restructure, extension, anything, increase is all possible this offseason with Quincy. And I think he has every right to go say, I made All-Pro. We need to come to the table here and get this right.
Look, it's fine. It's fine if JD thought it was worth it, if the value was there. Like, let's say he puts up another year like he just did, and then says, look, if you don't pay me more, instead of holding out, if he says, if you don't pay me more and redo my contract right now, I just gave you 2 Pro Bowl type years. Extend me right now. Give me a huge bonus. Make it worth my while right now. I think that's something we could talk about because we only have 1 year left. But on a 3-year deal, so to say it after year 1 when we still have 2 years left, I don't do it as a GM. I'm not saying whether it's his right or not. I don't do it. And when you look at our cap situation, I certainly don't do it because we're going to have a bunch of guys we have to re-sign that are a lot more critical to this team. Right now, We are right now.
All pro.
We are already down $87,000. I mean, I'm sorry, $87 million. We are down $87 million in 2026 already, and we only have 3 players on the roster secured for 2026. People think we're not in bad cap situation. We're down $87 million, and we only have 3 players. So you can't keep doing this for everyone.
Who's the 3? 2027?
Like, no, in 2026 we'll have Titman, we'll have Quinnen, and there's one other guy we have under contract, like, or a couple other guys. I mean, but like that are rookies now, like deals. I mean, there's some small players, but there's 3 real players that are like, if you go into over the cap,
yeah,
and you go into the calculator and you take away, Rodgers, like, or whatever, if you cut everybody, if you cut release or whatever and eat the money, you're looking at $87 million is off the books already, dead money. Like, we're dead money, $87 million we're up to. And we haven't even talked about Sauce Gardner yet. We haven't talked about JJ yet. We haven't talked about AVT yet.
You're talking 2027?
2026.
2026. Total cap liabilities, 123 million. Cap space is 160 million.
Now take CJ Mosley and take those guys off of there. They won't be there.
Mosley's cap number is 0 for 2026.
That's a void year, but we're probably still eating some cap money for it. But get Rodgers out of there. Like, cut him, submit that. Like,
Rodgers 63 million.
Right, but if you get rid of him, it's a little less, right?
Yeah. Will McDonald, Quincy, Alan Lazard, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Rodgers, Quinnen, Will McDonald, Titman, Hennessy, Carter Warren.
Well, not many guys.
I love that Thomas Hennessy's still there, man. Like, the guy is just a constant. Right. Yeah, you got this year's rookie.
There's not many guys left, and we're already down 87 million. Like, you can't.
The way they work it, Rodgers is not going to have a cap number of 63 million.
Okay, when that happens, but I'm saying is, like, something has to give. So, because he's not throwing the money back on the table, like off the, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna pay him.
Lazard won't be there after this year. They already said he's got 1 year left.
Yeah, but if you do it post June 1st, you have to eat it, for a couple of years. That's all being considered. It's all factored in. You're eating money for all those guys that you release.
8 million if you cut him.
Like, we can cut Laken Tomlinson and save money, but guess what? We're still paying for it in 26.
If we cut Alan Lazard after June 1st next year, we save 11 million. Going into the 2026.
But we have dead money.
That would be 2025. I'm sorry.
We have dead money for 3 years. Anytime you cut someone post June, you have 3 years divided by 3, and you still have to pay. That money has to be recognized on the books at some point. It adds up. 3 million here, 4 million here.
Next offseason, we cut Lazard. We have a $2.1 million dead hit, and then 11 million in cap savings. So this is Lazard's last season. He doesn't make the roster in 2025. No way.
Right. So what we have to
unless he goes Mike Evans season this year, but I don't see that.
What we have to do more than anything else is we have to draft really well for the next couple of years. So we're keeping the roster full of players. So this way, all that money that's for 26, that out of that 87 million, like, aside from that money, all the rest of that money is Jermaine Johnson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, hopefully, right? AVT. Like, you're trying to hold Garrett Wilson, you're trying to keep those guys. But then everyone else is going to have to be either junk guys or guys you picked up in the draft that are still on cheap contracts. This is why you have to be like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Philadelphia. You have to continually draft talent, but you can't pay everybody. You can't pay everybody. So I'm just saying, I don't think JD has any choice. I think he's going to look and say, well, this is why we have other linebackers that we've been grooming. Because if one linebacker is going to be too expensive and Quinton Williams is going to hold out and say, you have to pay me big money, the answer becomes, well, this is why we have Sherwood. Next guy up. And if it works and he plays well, that's a good GM. That's Baltimore. That's New England. That's Green Bay. That's teams, Pittsburgh, San Francisco. Next guy up type teams. And if he doesn't play well and we fail at that, That's the difference between us and those organizations, in my opinion.
Agree.
So it's not a personal thing against Quincy Williams. It's just, to me, it's just a matter of functionality. And that's just not the position I'm putting the money, because we're gonna have our hands tied with money in a lot of areas. I'm not gonna put it into linebacker. Not at the expense of edge, not at the expense of wide receiver, not at the expense of cornerback. You know?
Okay.
So hopefully he'll play this year out and go for the more solid strategy of, I got 1 year left. This way we're both giving and taking. Make this last year of the contract sweeter, and I'll give you a discount on a longer contract. You know what I mean? This way it extends his career with the Jets. It extends his career with the Jets. He gets to keep playing with his brother. He gets extra money for that third year, and we get to still.
And I'm in favor of all of that.
Mhm.
I'm in favor of everything you're saying.
That's what you hope that you can get.
But discussion purposes, I don't think that we can rule out the notion that an all-pro linebacker who's being paid a third of what other all-pro level linebackers are making does not ask for more. You don't know when your knee's going to go. You don't know how life is going to go. You capitalize on the moment.
Yeah.
And to have an all-pro linebacker go into next year with only making $6 million, I do not think it's crazy talk to say he may ask for more.
I think he definitely might. I'm just saying what I would do. He definitely might ask for more. Tigo, even if you cut them pre-June 1st, it doesn't matter. You can go to 26 right now on over the cap, do the calculator, and assume that we don't cut anybody post June 1st. And it's $87 million. That's what it is. If we start cutting guys like Lakin now, that $87 million is going to go up. But it is $87 million right now. And there's no way to change that unless we do restructuring. I mean, maybe there's a way to get that money off those books. I don't know. But right now, as it stands, it's $87 million. And that's just what it is. That's a reality. We have $87 million and about 3 contracted players that matter, that are relevant, impact players on this roster as of right now. I don't know how abnormal or normal that is. You know, maybe that's perfectly normal, this advance. Maybe we're going to draft tons of guys, right? That's 2 or 3 drafts. You know, that's picking up cheap, inexpensive free agents. You know, role players like JD has been good. I don't know any of it. I'm just saying a fact. How big do you want that number to get? How big do you want that $87 million to get for 2026 if you care about long-term stability of this team?
Yeah, but you see quarterbacks signing $250 million and then their cap hit is $8 million. There's ways to Jalen Hurts just signed a massive, I think, $252 million deal. And his cap hit was like $8 million. So you work things, you restructure. You have a guy who's playing all pro, you keep him happy. You have a young stud, and I'm going to use everything you said just to flip the conversation. You found him on the trash heap. You brought him in. You developed him. He made it to all pro. You reward that player. Everything you said, the reason not to pay him, I think is a reason you should. I think the organization should offer him, hey, you've outplayed this contract that we gave you. We're grateful for that. Let's add some more years. We'll give you some more money. We'll upload it with bonuses, and we're going to reward you for your hard work, your dedication, and improving your craft the way you have. We want to lock you up for a long time.
I don't argue that thinking at all.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong to do that. I'm not saying you'd be a bad GM to do it even. Because it's a good message to the team. I'm just simply saying, what do I think JD? And I think is based on our situation and our needs and our holes and our voids and everything that the situation we're in and his job on the line. I don't know. Maybe he will get maybe he would get intimidated. Maybe if he did threaten to sit out, JD would say, "Holy shit, I don't need this distraction," and have his hands tied. I don't know. I'm just guessing that JD is not going to change his contract. That's what I think. I think it'll be a horrible situation. Like what you're saying is, you're right. It would be a problem if Quincy says I'm sitting out, I want to raise. I want to restructure the contract. I think we got a problem. I think we have, because it's, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be a very bad situation. And I would be very upset. You know, I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen.
I hear you. I just think in 2024, with the way athletes are, and they want to maximize their value, when you make an all-pro and you're only making $6 million a year, hey, we got to talk about this. And that's not a knock on Quincy. I'm not saying that's a bad move. I'm not saying that's a bad character. I'm saying that's the way the athlete is nowadays. The contract you signed does not match the level of play that you're providing. And they are going to want, a majority of players are going to want to renegotiate that deal. That's just the world that we live in with the athlete. That's why there's arbitration in baseball. I've outperformed what you're paying me. We got to do this over. This is not good enough. Same thing here. So I just think it's something to keep an eye on.
No, I agree.
And if Quincy Williams is watching, I'll be your voice, bro. Cut me in. Get rid of the agent. I'll go to the table for you. I'll get you $15 million a year.
You're going to get murdered by other Jet fans for being a troublemaker.
Dude, the players are there to get rewarded. We're there to be fans. They're there to get paid. You pay a guy what he's worth. He's an all-pro. Pay him like an all-pro. That's just a fact.
Has JD done that?
Rich, I'm not saying he's going anywhere, but I'm saying he could hold out to get paid like he deserves.
JD didn't do it for Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff didn't play like an all-pro. We're going nuts over a guy who had 10 sacks.
12.
He didn't get 20. He wasn't in finalist for Defensive Player of the Year.
12, and I think Bryce Huff. I would take Bryce Huff if I'm building a team. I'd take Bryce Huff over Quincy Williams because of position. You think it's easy to find a speed rusher, a pass rusher that gets 12 sacks?
Well, that's a different discussion.
Name him.
That's a different discussion. I got you. I agree with you, but that's.
I'm just saying he didn't give him a raise. We're losing him because we didn't give him a raise. If we would have extended him before last year, like we did with JFM, we could have gotten.
We're losing him because everything Huff has said says, "I want to test the market. I want to see what I'm worth. I want to maximize my value to take care of my family." The Jets could have went to him and said, "Hey, here's 3 years, $42 million," and he's like, "No, I want to test the market." We don't know what's going on. They could have offered him multiple deals and increased each one. We're not privy to that info. Huff himself has said, no hometown discount. I have to do what's best for me and my family. Yeah. That means I want to see what the best offer is. And I don't care about winning. I want to get paid the most. I don't care who developed me. I don't care who drafted me. Yeah. That's coming from Huff. That's coming from his mouth.
Nobody drafted him, unfortunately. I wish
you know what I mean. You took a flyer on me,
right? I wish we would have drafted him. Maybe we would have had some more control over him. I don't know. So. Yeah, hold on, I'm getting a call from somebody who might want to say something. Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you talking about?
I'm totally confused with what you're doing over here with this show. You can't show him the actual cap. Could you pull it up or no?
Well, he's not arguing with it. Like
no. Listen up. Here's the deal. What are you looking at? First, pull up the 24 cap.
You want to pull up the 24 cap?
Yeah. Pull it up. Could you put it on the screen, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, but Tigo says you're wrong, though.
No. Pull up.
He says that you can consolidate the money.
Pull up the cap.
Do you want Tigo to explain it to you?
Could you show it or no?
Okay. I'm just saying Tigo is willing to show it to you.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay, hold on.
Pull it up first.
Okay.
Do me a favor.
I got it. You want me to share it?
They have one restructurable contract on that cap. Okay? They only have Quinn and Williams. They have 8 total contracts. Everything on that is total dead money. The only person they are paying is Quinn and Williams. They have 2 rookie contracts.
What year?
Every dollar that the Jets signed in free agency.
What year?
Okay, are you with me?
Hold on. Calm. Let us bring it up.
I want everybody to listen because I'm tired of this Jets fan attitude that we're going to go out and buy everything. Okay? We need to do it right.
Okay, so here,
Okay.
what year are
pull up
we
the
in right
20
now?
Okay,
Net.
first pull up the 26 cap. Could you show them or not?
Bring up the 26 cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Cut.
Scroll up. Okay.
Rogers.
Okay.
Cut Rogers. Okay. Everybody on there is dead wood except Quentin Williams. Okay, and then you go down to the rookie contracts, the R contracts. Okay, nobody else is in existence. Every other player there that has dead money attached is showing. Okay, you only have rookie deal contracts on there. They have $87 million worth of money spent on 3 total players. You only could restructure Quentin Williams. No other salary cap in football looks like that. Okay, if you go look, they all have 3 of their own guys signed. Okay, they have their own players signed. That's what's wrong with the New York Jets. You cannot draft. Well, you cannot build a team with free agency. This year, change it to 24, okay, and cut Zach Wilson. You know, trade Zach Wilson, cut Uzama, okay? Now, I want all you guys to tell me, okay, how you're going to find more money. You need to restructure contracts. That's all going against that 26 cap. Okay, every dollar you're making this year is going off. Yes, you could sign people for cheaper. You're going to have $25 million. Do it. Cut Zach. Trade Zach.
Well, you have to go to the calculator to do that, right?
Right. Go to 24. Okay. Trade Zach and cut Uzama.
Where do you do that? Where do you do that, sir?
I think you have to go back to the home page and start over with calculator. There you go.
All right, let's close this.
Close that.
Seriously, you made all these great videos. Pay attention, Jeremy.
He's yelling at me.
No,
I was making the point. I talked about the 87 million.
Right. Tigo knows what he's doing. There's a lot there. I see it. Okay, but seriously, you got to run it the right way. It's like everybody thinks it's free money. The cap is in existence. It is real.
Submit.
Okay,
you got to submit the trade.
You got to be able to use it to retain your guys. Okay, that's how you build championship teams. Not with this crap. You're gonna go sign everybody. Oh, let's go sign 2 free agent offensive linemen.
You have to hit the submit button.
Okay, well, let's finish this part fresh.
I'm doing
What do we got there? Okay, how much money you have now of cap space for this year? 25 million. What do you have? It shows, right?
15. I cut CJ Uzama before June 1st, and I traded Zach.
Okay, after June 1st, right? How much cap space do you have there?
15 million.
Okay, you need to create cap space.
15.7.
Okay, that's how much cap space you have, right? That's it. You need to create cap space. Tigo, say something. Who are you going to cut? Okay, anybody, tell me who you're going to cut off that roster right now to maintain cap space. Okay, you're going to eat $10 million of Lake and Thomason. Okay, you could do that. Okay, if you want. But how are you going to do this? Somebody please explain. Okay, you need to restructure contracts. In order to restructure contracts, every dollar you do is going towards the future cap. Okay, but everybody does it. Bullshit. They do it right. Okay, that's the way they do it. They do it right. They retain their own players first. That money from 26 needs to go to Sauce, needs to go to Garrett Wilson, needs to go to JJ, and needs to go to all whoever. That's how you build a Super Bowl championship roster. But no, the Jets want to go spend everybody. Let's go. Hey, let's go sign 2 free agent offensive linemen. Let's go spend money. Let's go, draft another guy. Let's go slop them all together, right? And they're going to roll out there this year, and they're going to be a top 10 offensive line. It's not happening, guys. It's not history. It doesn't work that way, okay? They need to play together for 2 years. You need to draft these guys, okay? You could add one. Now, after everything I said, no matter what I said, it's 100% true because you're going to have to create cap space by restructuring guys that aren't even on your team, okay? Guys that you brought over as free agents. You look at the Jets salary cap, It is horrible. All those guys, read off the top guys, bud. Okay? Read them off. You got Mosley. Keep up. How many of them were drafted by the Jets? Quentin Williams. Okay? That's it. That's not how you build a championship team. You need to learn the game. Okay?
Yeah.
Everybody. Now I'm done yelling. Okay? So I'll talk to you guys later. Okay?
All right, Tony.
You got it. Take care.
Later, bro. Yeah, look,
I also cut Lake and Tomlinson after June 1st, and I got
that gets us to 28 million. But what's interesting is go to 2026 now. Watch this after you've done that, right? And that was pre, so we ate the cap, right? Now, if you go and you get rid of Aaron Rodgers in 26, right? Like cut him because he's gone.
Oh, you don't have retire as an option here.
Yeah, you can cut him post, you can cut him pre, whichever one you want.
That brings it up 28 million. We're at 188 million available.
Right, but what is the dead money though? What's the
for the year?
Yeah, 95 million. Right?
Total liabilities. Total liabilities is money committed for that year. That's not dead money.
Right. Yeah, but okay, it's committed money. But how many players do we have for that money? CJ Mosley is not there. Quentin Williams we have. That's what I'm saying. We don't have anybody. We have $95 million committed. And how many players do we have? We have Tippmann. We have Quentin Williams, who's still under contract that we have.
Yeah, but this is a lot of teams will have this 3 years ahead of time because you don't have rookies on that.
Right. No, I'm saying there's going to be
a random team.
There's going to be other players by then. I get it. There's going to be some rookie players by then.
Yeah,
but how many in 2 drafts are there going to be? Right. Look at Kansas City. Let's look at their 2026 situation.
Let's go.
Now, keep in mind they have Mahomes.
$27. They got 2 players on the contract in 27. 3.
Right.
They got, ironically, McCole Hardman is one of them.
Yeah, but look at the players. It's Mahomes,
oh no, he's not. Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes. They only have 2 players.
Okay, 26.
26. They got less than us. Every team is going to have that because
look at the
I'm on
players
26. They got less than us.
No, they don't. These are all guys that are playing.
It's all their rookies and Jawan Taylor, Patrick Mahomes.
But look at how much money is Jawan
These
Taylor
are all rookies.
And Patrick Mahomes. Look at how much money they're accounting for. I mean, we don't have that quarterback. We're going to have no quarterback.
Well, you don't know that.
But if we have a quarterback, we're going to be paying them, right? I mean, maybe we draft a quarterback. That's an argument to draft a quarterback this year then.
Here, let's take a team that notoriously drafts well. Let's take the Packers.
Right. Okay, you could say that every team signs free agents, Tico, but other teams also draft and hold on to their players. Like if you look at the top teams, they have players that they drafted.
Again, the Packers have less than us in 2027.
That's 27. Go to 26.
26.
Is that less players?
This is what you're going to have because you're going to have your rookies and then you're going to have veterans that you. But here's the thing, though, that you got to realize the roster's changeover is so great. There's guys who sign 1-year deals. There's not many guys who get $4 million 4-year deals year after year after year on one team. You want to build through the draft. You don't want to have a lot of those guys committed in 2027. That's bad contracts. You want to have a low commitment to 2027. We're talking 4 seasons from now. Not many guys have contracts that long. All the rookie deals are 4 years to start. So
Well, I
Sauce and all
think
those guys aren't going to be on there yet.
no, no,
I
no.
think that's
I
just
get
that's
that.
a waste of
I,
time.
I get that, and I think that we are going to have Sauce and Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson and JJ on there, but that's going to be probably 120 million more. So now
Not
we're
on the
at 200,
cap. Not on the cap.
right? Because they're going to structure
That's
it.
the thing, though. You give out the bonuses, and listen, we're not going to re-sign all 4 of those guys. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're not going to re-sign all of them. Here, let's go.
Right.
Let's go to the Eagles, who
Well,
just
Detroit's
signed. Well, I want to look at Hurts's contract just to make a point.
Well, they pushed his money.
He
to the
just
back.
signed. Well, Jalen Hurts just signed a $255 million deal.
Right. How much of a guarantee? All of it, right?
It was 5 years. It was 5 years. And it goes much further because there's void years. Look at that. Most of the money, 100,
Wow, look how many void years there are.
30. Most of his money is deal. Look at how they did the deal. The cap number, though, is what we should be looking at. 6 million, 13 million, 21 million, 31 million. But the cap is going to go up so much by 2026, 2027 that a $40 million quarterback cap hit is going to be nothing.
Well, as long as
you're going to be at almost 300 million.
No. That's not even bad. 41 million.
When Drew Bledsoe signed his
the 90 is a
million
problem,
deal, the salary, that's never going to be. That's never going to be. That's a void year. And he's so young. If he stays there and succeeds, when Drew Bledsoe signed a $100 million deal, it was a $10 million hit. It was a 10-year, $100 million deal. He's the first $100 million player in the NFL.
That's the cap number for right now. 2029. There's the cap number. It's 97 million. That's the cap number for 2029. They're going to have to address that at some point, right?
Yeah. That'll change. It's 6 years from now. It'll change.
Right.
They do this to make it work. They do it to make it work. There's ways, and it's deeper than the majority of us know. But there's so many moving parts to a salary cap. It's guys you draft, it's guys you sign, it's guys you cut. I don't think we can be fixated on and talk about concrete data in 2026 or 2027. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the contracts are going to alter. We don't know who's going to get extended. We don't know who's going to get signed. We don't know how we're going to draft.
I think the biggest problem right now, when I look at when I look at over the cap, the biggest problem I have more than anything, and Tony Alexio pointed it out, is like Lincoln Tomlinson, like some of the contracts that are just even CJ Mosley. Like we're stuck in some bad contracts in the next few years. And we have to get out of it. And I understand you're saying there's ways out of it, but they're just ugly contracts. There's no way to deny. Lincoln Tomlinson hurt this team, and it's a major spike in us. It's a major deterrent when you sign a guy to Lincoln's freaking deal. And then he plays like shit. And he's not even a good guard.
It hurts. Obviously, it's going to hurt the organization financially. Whenever you invest in someone and it doesn't pan out, it's going to hurt at some point. That's just the way of the world with sports. You want these guys to hit. You want them to be long-term players on your team. You want to have them have multiple contracts, and you want to invest in them for 10, 12, 15 years.
Yes, guys.
But the reality of it, there's more misses. We're not the only team that has issues. The Saints are 85 million over the cap going into next season.
No. That's what we don't want to be. We don't want to be the Saints.
I get it.
We don't want to be the Saints. That's all I'm saying.
Everyone's got to remember this. We went all in with Rodgers. This was totally Joe Douglas like. We went all in.
Right.
This is part of the problem when you go all in and you do not win.
We blew up the process and everything we were doing because, it started because Zach Wilson was a bust, right? If Zach Wilson is not a bust, Forget the trade. Everyone says, yeah, I agree. Hindsight, we definitely should have. We definitely
Tigo,
should
I
have
closed
traded
it
down.
out.
We
I closed it
definitely
out.
could all agree in hindsight. There's no question we should have traded down in that draft, right? And kept Sam Darnold. I mean, it's easy to say that now in hindsight. Very easy. And for some people, it was easy to say at the time. That's not the point. The point is we did take Zach Wilson. That blew up the entire plan. Everything we're doing blew up the entire plan.
Yeah.
Because we had to stop what we were doing, which was build through the draft, and we had to go all in for Aaron Rodgers. And that freaking screwed us. And when you combine it with the CJ Mosley deal he was stuck with and the Laken Tomlinson bust signing, it's amazing we're in a position to compete next year with as little holes as there are when you consider everything that's went wrong.
Yeah. Well, Phil, let me say this. Number one, I hope you're well across the pond, buddy. When I'm in that other browser, I don't see the chat because I have to open up another tab and I'm on that tab. I'm not operating it and seeing the chat. So that's why I rely on Jeremy.
But we didn't look at the over the cap for and Wildwave is saying it. I was yelling, look at Detroit, look at Houston, look at young teams. I don't want to do it now, but I'm saying look at the young teams. Look at the young teams that are good.
They're going to have the same thing. They're not going to have many players committed because all these contracts haven't been extended yet.
Right, but they're not going to have 87 million coming in dead money.
This is the price when you go all in for a superstar quarterback. You're gonna, and he's getting paid massively. This is why Green Bay was willing to trade him. They wanted to get rid of it. And
I think the argument Tony is making is that we shouldn't have went and gotten Aaron Rodgers, and we should have stuck to our plan.
It's hindsight,
drafting and developing players. But really, to me, it goes back to the Zach Wilson, and I'm just as guilty. I wanted to take him, and I was 100% wrong. We should have traded down in that draft. We should have traded down. And we think about it. If we would have traded down, the amount of draft capital we would have had on top of everything we've already done, we would have had even more. We'd be loaded with young stars. It's crazy that we didn't trade down. The only thing that saved us at all, the reason we're still in a position where we could still win if we're able to pick up and fill some holes, the only reason is that that we did hit with a lot of draft picks. We hit, man. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. Everyone thinks, oh, well, of course it was the 4th and 10th pick. No, there are freaking fourth picks overall, 10 pick overalls that don't work all the time. It's not a given. JJ at 26, trading up and taking that risk. That's not a given. That doesn't happen all the time. Right? Breece Hall in the 2nd round. That doesn't happen all the time. You know, it was a draft for the ages. That draft, not just for the Jets, but any team.
San Francisco traded up with who? Miami.
Yeah, San Francisco traded up to take Miami's pick, and then Miami
traded down. Right?
They traded down to come back up and gave some of that capital away. But the point is, the Niners gave 3 first-round picks and more. Can you imagine what we would have gotten? Because with us, you're getting your choice, whereas the Niners didn't have the choice to take Zach Wilson. So imagine what they would have paid to have the choice to take Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Listen, let's just add this. We'll put a bow on it with this. We'll end on a positive Nick note, which some people may not like. We go win the fucking 2024 Super Bowl. Who gives a shit? I think Tigo said it earlier. I'll give him credit for planting the seed in my brain to say this. Now, look at the Bucks and look at the Rams. You think they give a fuck about the salary cap 2-3 years from now? No.
Tigo,
when you go all in to win a Super Bowl and you win the fucking Super Bowl, as fans, shut the fuck up. You won a Super Bowl. If we win it next year, I don't give a fuck about the salary cap. Cut everybody and put a CFL team out there for all I give a shit. We won a Super Bowl. My heart will give out anyway when we win the AFC Championship. I won't even make the Super Bowl.
Tigo's saying I should call Jeremy. You could. You know what? I could, but I want people to see my face. Well, we're getting off anyway. But we will.
Yeah, I'm pinching a
I
bladder.
have to. I have to. I'm 45 minutes over. I'm in so much trouble with my wife. My only argument is that she made me leave the show in the middle to save the dog. So.
Hero,
Anyway, guys,
he's not a zero. He's a hero. Jeremy's our man.
I think this is a topic that needs even more clarification. I do. I think that we need more clarification. So we're gonna take Tigo. I'm gonna talk to Tigo afterwards. I'm gonna get his side of things, the reality from him. I'm gonna get the reality from Tony. I'm gonna see what he's saying. I'm gonna double check it with people like Ryan, who's a salary cap guy, Joe Blewett. With us, we'll look it up. We're going to get to the bottom of it, know exactly what kind of shape we're in, exactly what the rules are, how much money we can get off of that 2026. Is it really 87 million? Does it even matter with the cap going up? We'll figure all of it out. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging. And I'll leave you with this.
And now, welcome to Pride and Chaos.
Welcome to the darkest year of our adventures. Oh, yeah!
And now, give it up for Jeremy and Nick.
Now you scared me.